tandem read them because I'm telling you right now, I would not have been able to do it. Tandem reads like horrify me. An NBA player. How are you supposed to say no? Oh my goodness, like the author has put in a lot of thought to make this like such like a mystical and just like such a fantastical world. Hey there, beautiful people. Welcome to my channel. My name is Nyasha, and I'm so happy that you have clicked on this video. Today we are going to be doing a very belated mid-year book freak out tag, book tag, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, I know that it's literally August, but I did want to partake in this trend to just sort of share all the books that I've read this year and, you know, talk to you about my favorite books, the ones that I didn't really enjoy and whatnot. So we're just gonna get into it. I got my questions from Hal Jones. She's like one of my favorite bookish YouTubers, and I'm pretty sure she got her questions from Sarah Caroli, but I don't know. Just letting you know that I did not write these questions on my own. So yeah, we're gonna get into it. I'm gonna start off by saying that in total I have read 29 books this year and my Goodreads goal is 30. So I'm almost at my Goodreads goal, which I'm really happy about, and who knows, I might increase my goal before the end of the year. I really don't know, but I have had a really good reading year, and I'll put up the rest of my stats, just like, you know, my average rating for this year and like my highest score, my lowest score, stuff like that, just in case you were interested. But otherwise, let's get into the questions. I don't think I took every single question from the video. I just took the questions that I thought would be fun to answer. Starting off, it is, what is the best book that you have read so far this year? And that title goes to Empire Storms by Sarah J. Maas. I read this book last month. I'm pretty sure I finished it last month and I gave it 5 stars. I don't even know how to explain my love for this series, and like every single book, it just keeps getting better and better. So I cannot wait to read the rest of the series. But this book, oh my gosh, I cannot formulate any sentences to describe what I felt throughout this entire book. And it was just, like, it actually has me at a loss of words, and I've not been able to like talk about it since I finished it. All you need to know is that I gave it 5 stars. It had me sobbing, and I'm continuing the series. Also, to point out, if you do know anything of the Throne of Glass series, you should know that this is supposed to be a tandem read with Tower of Dawn. I did not tandem read them because I'm telling you right now, I would not have been able to do it. Tandem reads like horrify me. So I just read this one first, and now I'm going into Tower of Dawn. But I really did enjoy this book, as you can see by the tabs. So yeah, this was definitely the best book that I've read this far. However, very close to that was Daisy Hates The Great Undoing. This book, the only thing that I can say which will make you understand why I love this book so much is that I got disgustingly attached to Julian Hates, and I love that man. I love Julian Hates with a burning passion. And so obviously this book, like it's called Daisy Hates, but really we're following Julian in this book, and I just loved it. I also gave it 5 stars. The next question is the best sequel that you have read this year. And at the beginning of this year, I read Ruthless Vows, which is the sequel to Divine Rivals, and I absolutely loved that book. Those characters and that world will forever have my heart, like forever. I love that duology as a whole, but then obviously that being the sequel to one of my favorite books of last year, just made it the cherry on top. And like I just loved how everything sort of wrapped up in the end. And I think that nowadays people don't do duologies as much, and I love duologies so much because it means you don't have to sink your teeth into a long fantasy, but like you just deal with 2 books. It gives you enough of the characters and enough of the backstory and enough of like the lore, and you can just like I loved that book, and I love the duology. So yeah, that was one of the best sequels I've read. But then on the flip side, we had The Right Move by Miss Liz Tomford. Don't play with me. Don't play with me. This woman knows how to write a romance. That's it. I love this book so much. Ryan Shea? Don't even talk to me. Ryan Shea. Like, I didn't even know I cared about basketball until I read this book. This is I'm realizing now I haven't even been telling you what these books are about, but to be fair, the first books I've spoken about were a part of like a series, so I can't really tell you. But this is basically a interconnected romance series, and this is the second book in that series, and that it follows Ryan Shea and Indy. I don't remember her last name. I really don't remember her last name, but it follows them two, and like just basketball, good romance. That's all I can say, and like I loved it. Like I'm very easy to please when it comes to my romances, and this just hit the spot. Liz Tomford always does. Next up is new releases that you have not read but you want to. And I know for this tag you're supposed to only have one book per each sort of prompt, but I physically could not do that. So I have two books for here as well. And the first one I have is The Reappearance of Rachel Price by Holly Jackson. That is purely because I have read all of Holly Jackson's books and I love them. I love how well she paces her mysteries and how you find things out at the end of the book. Like I think she writes mysteries and thrillers like so well. So obviously I would love to read her newest release, but then also Bride by Ellie Hazelwood. That's a weird sort of like book. And I did DNF it sometime during this year because I don't think I was in the headspace for it, but I would like to read it because everyone and their mama's mama read it, and I want to see what side of the spectrum I fall on, you know, because people either loved it or they hated it, and I wanted to see where I end up. So yeah. Next prompt was biggest surprise, and I'm going to take this in two different ways. For example, the biggest surprise as in something that I did not expect to like, but then I ended up liking, and then something that I expected to like, but then did not end up liking. So on the first side, we have my biggest surprise, like good surprise, was the Magnolia Parks universe. I went into the first book blind and I completely, like I low-key kind of hated Magnolia and BJ, and I didn't care for their love story at all. And then I continued reading because I don't actually know why I continued reading, especially like I was just so mad after the first book because the two of them, like if you like if you want to see my review of the Magnolia Park series, I'm pretty sure I reviewed every single book on Goodreads, so go check those out. They do have like a few spoilers, so just make sure you check that before you read them. But like I lost my entire self into this series, and by the end of it I fell in love with every single character in it, and I wanted nothing but the best for them. So I don't know how Miss Jessa Hastings managed to do that, but that was probably my biggest surprise of this entire, well, half of the year. The way that I ended up like caring for these characters felt like it was illegal. Like I genuinely for a good period of time believed that somewhere in the world presently Magnolia and BJ and Daisy and Christian, they were all real people. That's just how like amazing that series was for me, and just like the writing style and just the character development, it was all chef's kiss, and so that was a huge surprise for me. And then the bad surprise that I had was the book, I think it was the final book, or it was the second final. I don't know I really don't know. I really don't know because I started off that series feeling like meh after I read Flawless, but then I read Heartless and I was in love with Kate Eaton. I loved that cowboy man. I was like, I need me a bit of Kate Eaton. And then the rest of the series went downhill. It fell flat for me because it just felt so repetitive. And like I'll give Elsie Silva the fact that her writing is very bingeable, it's very light and easy to read. I felt like I could predict everything that was coming, and by the end, all of their fights or the, issues that each couple had sort of felt unnecessary and like cliche, and I just really ended up not enjoying it. I did finish the entire series, but I wouldn't recommend it to anyone besides the second book. Like I would just tell people to read Heartless by Elsie Silver. Leave the rest of the Chestnut Spring series alone. I don't know, it wasn't it for me. Then we have the next prompt is your favorite new author, and I have two for this, and that is Miss Jessa Hastings, who is the author of the Magnolia Park series, and then, or I guess people call the Magnolia Parks universe, but whatever, she's the author of that, as well as Liz Tomford, who is the author of the Windy City series. Those two women know how to write bingeable books I will say it again, they know how to write bingeable books. If you want to fly through a series, pick up books by either of these two women and you will be enthralled from page 1 to the end of the last page of the last book. Like, that's how much I absolutely love them. They are just so good. It's always a fun time reading their books, even though like they both cover like really heavy topics. I think they cover them like really well. Then we have my newest fictional crush, and that award goes to Ryan Shea from The Right Move. I have no words. I have no words for the man that Ryan Shea is. I'm gonna like, if you have read the series, like, you can see me literally fangirling about this man, and I want to tell you everything that he does to like show you why he's my bookish boyfriend, but then like my favorite bookish boyfriend, but then that would be me spoiling the book. So all I can say is read The Right Move by Liz Tomford and tell me how you feel about it. Please tell me how you feel about it. If you didn't like it, that's okay. The book is, you know, we're entitled to our own opinions. Don't try and bring me down, okay? I love this book. I love this series. Let's not bring each other down, okay? If you didn't like it, that's perfectly fine. I understand it. It might not be your taste, but I really did enjoy it, and he really, truly was everything that I want and wish for in a bookish boyfriend. Plus, he's an NBA player. Dog! He's an NBA player. How are you supposed to say no? So, yeah. But then my second bookish boyfriend is definitely Julian Hates, which may be controversial because he is involved in sort of dubious activities. That's the best way to put it, without spoiling it. But I love me. No, this is gonna out me so bad, but I love me a good, like, grumpy guy who's like, I don't believe in love, and then, uh-oh, this woman comes into my life, and what am I supposed to do? Like, I love that type of trope, and I'm not saying that's exactly what happens to Julian, but, like, I just loved who he was and how, like, I can't even say I love his morals, because do I really, those dubious activities be dubious? But I just... like, he's a good bookish boyfriend, and I want the best for him. Like, that's how much Jessa Hastings has impacted my life. I want the best for a character like Julian Hates. Isn't that sick? Like, if you've read this series, like, it's sick. The next prompt is a book that made you cry, and I have The Right Move by Liz Tomford. The ending of this book was just so beautiful and wholesome, and I will not talk about this book anymore because if you have not gotten if you have not gotten to the conclusion that you should read this book so that we can talk about it in this community, then this is your sign. Read this book so that we can talk about it, and then we can talk about how the ending makes you cry. But then also, obviously, The Empire of Storms, as well as Queen of Shadows by Sarah J. Maas. This woman will have you going through the ringer for like 400 pages and then destroy your entire life even more for the last 100. And that's exactly what happened here. So... and then lastly, because I needed to include another one, it was Magnolia Park's Into the Dark. That book, I was crying every single other chapter. Like, it was very bad. It was very bad. But that's because, like, it's their final book. Because the Magnolia Park's universe is kind of following two different couples over 3 books each. And so that was Magnolia and BJ's final book. And I was gagged the entire time. Tears streaming down my face because of just the things that they have to deal with and how they deal with it and how they deal with the issues that they have together. It was just chef's kiss. I absolutely loved that book. So yeah. Next, we have a book that made you happy. That's nice. I have 2 books for this prompt as well. I have Mile High by Liz Tomford. Can you see who we love? Can you see who we love? I'm a simple gal. It made me happy. It was a bit long. Like, it was very long. And Liz Tomford's books do get shorter. I don't know why this book was this long. I mean, I ate it up. I love me a good hockey romance. But yeah, this book did make me happy because of... I can't even say that, but yeah, the romance between these two and everything that happens for them to get to where they get makes me happy. And then also we have a new book, but Carnival by Stephanie Garber. This book did make me happy because it was very, very like fantastical and very magical, and I love that in a fantasy where you can like be like, oh my goodness, like the author has put in a lot of thought to make this like such like a mystical and just like so like such a fantastical world. Yeah, it just made me like really, really happy. I don't even know how she did it, but Stephanie Garber's writing in this was absolutely beautiful and stunning, and then the ending also just like completely shocked me. You can see that's where I felt the urge to make tabs. But yeah, this book really did make me happy because it was just such a nice, simple read, but like so rich in its fantasy aspects, and that was really nice for me. Next, we have the most beautiful book that I've bought or received this year. I have both of these books, but I don't have them with me right now, so I'll put in a little clip of them. But it's The Atlas Complex by Olivia Blake, and then Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. I am so happy that I own that Divine Rivals copy, especially because it has an embossed hardcover. Chef's kiss. Absolutely chef's kiss. And actually both of those I was gifted. I did not buy them. I'm very grateful that I was gifted both of those books. We are now finally at the last prompt of this tag, of this video. I hope you enjoy this video. If you made it this far into the video, please comment down below any of your answers to any of the questions. I would love to hear your, answers so that we can possibly exchange book recommendations. But the final question that we have is, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? Now I have a lot. I have a lot of books that I want to read by the end of the year, and I don't know if I'll be able to get to all of them because I will be starting uni in September. So I would love to read the rest of the Throne of Glass series. I think I have 3 more books. Tower of Dawn. Oh no, I have 2 more books now. Yeah, I have Tower of Dawn and Kingdom of Ash. Kingdom of Ash is such a big ask though. Like, that is a crazy book to try and finish. Caught Up by Liz Thomas Ford because that is the next book in the Windy City series. And then finally, Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. Also Play Along, which is like a new release. I think, or is it out? Maybe it's out already. I think it came out already. I think it may have come out in July. I don't know. But Play Along is the most recent book in the Windy City series. So I'd just like to finish and get up to date with that. So yeah, that was my very belated mid-year book tag. If you have any sort of questions for me, or if you want to discuss any of these books that I spoke about, please comment down below. I would love to hear your opinions. And if not, please subscribe, give this video a like if you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you in my next one. So yeah, thank you so much.